I wanted to thank you for taking time to speak with me today.
Oh, no problem. Happy to do it.
I wanted to ask about the recording process for the album. How long did it take to put this material together?
It ended up being a pretty time-consuming process. Me and Nick Sponsel, the bass player, and he also is the engineer who took care of most of the recording stuff. We kind of started it back during COVID, in the fall, in the summer of 2020, and we started putting the demos together. It really just started out as just a home demo kind of project while everything was shut down. And as he continued to get better gear, better equipment, get better at production and things like that, it started growing. And we finally decided, hey, we should put this together as a full album. So, we went from using program drums like Superior Drummer stuff to actually getting a session drummer to track everything. We ended up getting Robin Stone, who did a phenomenal job on the drums. And it eventually just kept growing. We got Kyle Watts on vocals, phenomenal singer, way better than the demos that I could produce myself on vocals. And so, eventually by 2023, we had the songs fully recorded, sounding way better than the demo quality. And, that's what got us to where we're at. So it took a while. A lot of it was just waiting, getting the drums done, getting them produced. Nick Sponsel was also completing his doctorate, so he had time to work on it intermittently, and so it took a while to get done, but it was worth the wait, I think.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite tracks is From a Ruined Tomb. I wanted to ask if you could speak on that track.
Yeah, absolutely. That track is one of two tracks on that album that's from one of my previous bands. I wrote those when I was in a band called Rapture Cabaret. Um, Pretty similar style, leans a little more towards metalcore than it does the melodic death metal of Bellhammer. But we did release that as kind of a demo, and that previous band, different lyrics, different drums, different leads. A lot of changes have happened to it since then. But that band broke up, I think 2008, and I wanted that song to still get some life, get played. Hopefully we get a live band together with Bellhammer and put that song out there. So I made some changes to the drums, changed the solos and the leads around a little bit, made it fit the Bellhammer style a little better. And I'm definitely happy with how that one turned out.
And a track I wanted to talk to you about was a Gift of Ignorance. I love the melody of that track. I wanted to ask how that melody line came to you.
Which melody was that?
The one that starts in around 540 of the song. It starts out on the lead and then it goes into the piano section.
Oh, okay, to like towards the end. Yeah.
Yes.
That actually is one of the oldest songs on the album. I wrote that before Rapture Cabaret even existed. That melody was just one of those things that you had the tracks under it down and you just start playing and it just kind of came out. It just was tracking it, started playing the lead, and it just kind of happened.
I think it's beautiful how it rendered itself into piano and just gave it this full embodiment of what the melody was about, and it was fantastic to me. I found myself that melody ringing with me the entire day after hearing the album.
Oh, that's awesome! Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, that track I feel like gives a lot more dynamics to the album. There's it's slower. It's got the piano. It's got some strings in it. It's got some clean choir vocals, and I feel that really elevated the album above just the constant fast melodeath style stuff, which is great. But having that at the end of the album, I feel like really gives it some dynamics, some diversity.
Sure. And another track I wanted to talk about is Falls of the Hounds. It's another one of my favorite tracks on the album. It's hard to pick a few to talk about, but those are the standouts for me.
Falls of the Hounds. That is actually the newest track. That one was written right towards the end of putting the album together. I had enough space to put one more track in, so I started working on that one. And that's a good one. That one came together pretty quickly. You know, melodic death bit your paint by numbers, melodic death metal style. It's got all the elements there. It's got the riffs. It's got all those parts. And that middle section I really enjoy, where it slows down and you get the kind of trippy guitar part in it and the effects on the vocals. I really enjoyed putting that one together.
And tell me how we got here. How did Bellhammer become a reality?
Yeah, it started there. A lot of those songs were written after that band Rapture Cabaret broke up. I kind of kept writing in that melodic death metal style, putting these songs together, not necessarily with any goal to start a band, just writing, just the ideas were there. I was putting them out.
Mm-hmm.
And over COVID, I had all this time at home, nothing to do. And I had a home demo set up. I got the computer, got the Focusrite, got everything. So I'm like, I'll just start tracking, just start putting this stuff together. And I sent it to Nick Sponsel, and I had really basic, bad sounding program drums that I just imported from Guitar Pro. It didn't sound good, but it was there. It got the ideas out. He put in some Superior drummer stuff, and it was like, man, this sounds awesome. This takes it to another level, and it just kind of kept growing from there. I would send him something, and he just send it back with, better guitar plugins or better this or better that. And every time I'm like, man, this is awesome. We need to do something with this. And it just kept elevating. We got, like I said before, we got Robin Stone in there to do the drums. And then we got Kyle to come in and do the vocals. And then we got Stephen Klein at TMF Studios to do reamps for the guitar. So, we have actual amps instead of just an amp sim. And it just kept growing until it sounded worthy of a release. And that's how Bellhammer was born.
And I wanted to ask you as well about the album artwork. The album artwork is very immersive and it's done very well. I wanted to ask who is responsible for the artwork on the album.
That is Yannick Bouchard, he did the artwork for another band that me and Nick are also in, Salvation. And I came up with the concept. I was just kind of spitballing ideas of art based on each song. That one is based off of Gift of Ignorance. And that one I just thought worked best as an album cover. It was cool. I really enjoyed the concept of it, and I thought it would look great. And so I sent it to Yannick, and he knocked it out quick, did a fantastic job putting it together. And yeah, it turned out great, turned out fantastic. And
it is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And tell me, how did you begin as an artist? At what age did you begin to hone your craft?
Let's see. I got my first guitar when I was, I think, 14 years old. My grandma got me a guitar from Guitar Shop in downtown Wilmington at the time. Just a, old lefty, like the only lefty I think that was in the entire city at the time. And I just started practicing, just started jamming, had a little Fender practice amp, and just kept learning songs. I started out playing a lot of punk rock, and then I started really getting into heavy metal, learning like Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, like the usual suspects. It started getting really heavy in Iron Maiden, and it was just learning songs is how I got better. I would just hear a song I really liked, figure out how to play it, and then the improvement kept starting. And then started writing songs probably around high school is when we started actually trying to put songs together instead of just learning other people's stuff.
I love the way you use harmony. Did a lot of that come from your early experience in listening to like Maiden?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. A lot of the leads, the harmonies, a lot of that coming straight from Iron Maiden. Absolutely.
And when you're not working on music, what do you like to enjoy in your spare time?
Oh man, I love getting outdoors. I like to get out. I like to hike. I like to, stuff like that. I live near the beach. I'm not a beach person, I'm more of a mountain person, so that kind of makes it tough for me. You know, family. I got a daughter and my wife. I like to spend time with the family, hang out with friends. Really like to cook. I'm big into being in the kitchen. I love making like Asian style food. That's been my big go-to lately.
And I wanted to ask you as well, with the success of this album, which you've had great reviews, I wanted to ask you, will there be another Bellhammer album in the works?
Oh, absolutely. The follow-up album is pretty much 90% written.
Wow.
At this, as long as it took to put the first one together and get everything, you know, mixed and kind of rework it and make sure it was up to par how we wanted it to sound. I just started writing again. And right now, I'm kind of just letting the first one settle before we want to get in and really start recording. And, you know,
Sure.
There's enough songs to put out there, but I don't want it to be a step down from the first album. So
Sure.
I want to keep writing and make sure I feel confident that these songs can hold up to the first one. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is sifting through what I've got and making sure this is going to be as good or better than the first album instead of taking a downturn in quality as far as the writing goes.
And would you say, as far as the sound, would you say it's in line with Balls of the Hounds?
I want to keep it not exactly. I don't want to just make a clone of
Sure.
The Great Chains of Being. I want to do something that's different enough to like keep it fresh. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I want a little bit more different elements. There are a couple songs that are a little more melodic. Some of the choruses are a little catchier, but I don't want to stray too far into different territory. So I'm kind of trying to keep it anchored to what we're doing and what we're about, but bring enough new elements in so it's a little more fresh. But there's absolutely some Falls of the Hounds type material on there for sure.
And if there's enough material, once you have enough material together, are there thoughts of taking the band to the road?
That is actually what we are working on right now. The style that we're playing is not super popular. You know, there's not a huge scene for it where I live in Wilmington, North Carolina, where our vocalist also lives. So we're kind of hunting around the area to see who's interested, who can play the drums that Robin did, because Robin definitely is he's a phenomenal drummer. I can't say enough good things about him.
Sure.
And we want to get someone who can recreate that live close enough that it's going to live up to the album. Obviously, you don't expect perfection at a live show. It's not an exact recreation, but we want one who can live up to what he put down on the album. And unfortunately, the reality with that is, for every 5 death metal bands, you might have one drummer who's in 5 of them around here. There's tons of guitarists, there's not tons of drummers. So it's just finding someone who's into it, who's got the time, and who's not already overcommitted, who can get out there and play some shows. But we absolutely want to get out and start doing some shows.
And I wanted to ask you as well, in speaking of the album, what is the best way to get a physical copy and any merchandise that you have?
As of right now, we only have the digital stuff available. We're working on getting a vinyl release. I don't know if a CD release is going to happen yet. I would absolutely love to do that. It's one of those things, you can often get stuck with tons of copies of CDs since they just don't sell that well. And another thing, since we're not playing live shows yet, it's hard to move merchandise. So I don't want to get inundated with stuff that's going to just sit around. So I want to get a physical release out there. Hoping to have a vinyl press by the end of this year. And I do want to get some t-shirts done. I would like to get the album cover and the logo, like get a nice design done with that and put that out there. So it's coming. It's going to happen. It's just getting the artwork done, getting everything together. That most everything for the album layout, the vinyl layout, is ready to go. I just need to, put the money down, get it pressed. I'd like to get a band photo done in the meantime. It's in the works. It's just some of the logistics are an issue
Sure.
since Nick Sponsel moved, our bassist moved to Boise, Idaho. So getting us all in one place to get the band photo taken has been kind of the issue for now. But it's coming. It's definitely going to be out there, hopefully by the end of the year.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you, if you could give any message to your fans, what would that message be?
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. Putting this album out as a band who's not, been active. We haven't been playing shows. It just kind of got released, and we didn't do a ton of promotion, so people have just come to it, listened to it. We've gotten excellent feedback, awesome feedback,
Yes.
a lot of the listeners, and that's been just fantastic to hear that people are loving it, people are digging it, people are listening to it, not just one time, but people are playing it repeatedly and getting into the songs. Thank you all for getting into this album, giving us a chance. We appreciate it so much. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a testament to how great this album is. Upon listening to it, I knew I loved the album, but the hardest part with me was, man, normally I only bring up like, a couple tracks to talk about, and I could talk about every one of these tracks. It's definitely a great album from top to bottom. And I love the way that the album flows. I think the way the placement of the songs is amazing as well. It has great flow to it. It keeps you on the journey and it keeps you involved throughout. And that's becoming a lost art. And I was glad to hear that on this album, that a lot of time and consideration was placed on where the album songs were at and the order they are placed in, because it creates a great atmosphere throughout.
Yeah, I'm super stoked that you caught on to that, because there was a lot of effort put into the order. Partially also, a vinyl release, you have to think about that just from
Sure.
on each side, and that we went into it with that consideration. But yes, you're absolutely right. We did think very hard about the flow of the pace. We wanted to hit hard with Bone Dust right away off the bat, just in your face. And then the second track, Blessed Wind, it takes it back. That's the, little more mid-pace song to kind of bring it down a little bit, and then right back up to where we were with From a Ruin. Yeah, that I definitely wanted the album to flow like an album, and I completely agree with you. That is becoming a bit of a lost art. And the album is a total package, and how all the songs come together can make a huge difference in how you view the album as an album and not just a collection of songs. You're 100% agree with that.
Well, I wanted to take a moment to thank you again for creating an album that I enjoyed from top to bottom, and for taking time to speak with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, my friend.
Oh, you as well, man. It's been fantastic. Thank you for being into it, for listening, and for being interested enough to want to have this conversation. I appreciate you so much, man. It's been great.
Well, please feel free to update me at any time with any new news as it comes about, my friend. I look forward to what lies ahead for you.
Oh, thank you so much. And absolutely, we will definitely keep you posted.
All right. Thank you, my friend. And you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You do the same, Robert.
All right. Take care.